Welcome, greetings, and lovely to be together on the seventh session today. So, accumulating all of these ideas and getting a chance to revise and also hear the completion. Would like to share a short animation that might help us to reflect back on yesterday's topic. So, we can bring that now.
Each phase has its own quality. For the Brahmin, there is love for knowledge. The deity, there is happiness. For the warrior, there is the energy of courage. The merchant, it is the energy of comfort seeking. The Shudra of laziness. And the demon of sorrow. In the Brahmin phase, there is love for knowledge, simplicity, cleanliness, community-minded spirit, interested in higher truth, wisdom and God. In the deity phase, energy of happiness, contentment, love, and being peaceful, there is perfection. He would climb Mount Everest just for fun. A deity would be an ideal friend. They are lucky. In the warrior phase, there is courage. Why did they lose the energy of happiness of the deity? With attachment in the story, it leads to the victim, beggar, and slave mindset. As a result of bondage, there is fear, so courage is needed. Other energy is competition, risk-taking, fighting, or dominating. They would climb Mount Everest with competitive energy and put up the flag. The merchant energy is of transaction, money, opulence. They would make a show. It's an inner stage. It's not dependent on the outer trade. There can be a merchant doctor, for example. There would be love for food. Mount Everest, they wouldn't go, but they might sell the tickets. They are further down the spiral of Maya. The Shudra energy is of laziness, dullness, getting the wrong end of the stick. There is indulgence, looking for the next hit. They won't climb Mount Everest, they'll watch it on the adventure show on TV. Finally, the demon has the energy of sorrow, seeing the defects, what is wrong, missing the 100 good things, and brings others down. The opposite is the Brahmin, who sees the goodness in others and can bring others up. The time comes for every soul when we decide to jump out of this lower state. We don't like this feeling. We get to the point where enough is enough. If you become the Prime Minister, what would your policy be? If one created a deity community with a deity mind, you don't need gold and diamonds. In fact, you have the method. You don't need to be the Prime Minister for this. Make it easy for others. Those who are interested will take advantage. The results are guaranteed.
Sounds like it's becoming a mission, and a wonderful mission, that is seeing the beauty that is the truth of this invisible traveler for each one, whatever the phase. And I would like to share a quote which is about achieving success if we do have our own mission. And it was by Swami Vivekananda, and it has a lot of energy. He says, take up one idea, make that one idea your life, think of it, dream of it, live on that idea, and let the brain, the muscles, the nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea, and just leave every other idea alone. This is the way to success, he says. And so, quite interesting what does that quote mean in our context, and something for us all to reflect on. But we may have tendencies of merchant and of warrior, and tendencies may come, but keep the Brahmin, seeing the angelic, seeing the perfection in others, knowing it will result in the highest, and reprogramming ourselves for this. It will be like such an energy that is needed to overcome. So welcome if you're in a position to come into camera. It will be great to see you also. And bringing in Prashant, good evening.
Thank you, and hello, and congratulations for reaching the 7th day. Let us start with a minute of silence and concentration. And in this minute, we use the paras. And most important thing that paras does is makes the soul conscious. From unconscious state, he becomes conscious. So you are getting the perspective of someone who is immortal and someone who is with God and someone who is so free from the story, understands the story for what it is. The invisible observer. He is aware of his immortality, and most important is beyond harm. Not the slightest harm from this story can reach him. Understands the story itself is harmless. Understands that everyone is lucky, their nature is of happiness, and universe is positive. There is every reason for happiness forever. All we have done is use paras, and we are now seeing the world right way up. Without that, we were as if seeing the same world upside down. Because in the environment of darkness, Ravan is completely in charge of our lives. Ravan perspective we are seeing. And Ravan is seeing the same world from the story. His story is his world. And Cinderella has become I. And he's seeing the same world from this upside down position. Thank you. What an amazing thing. Such a simple, one step, and you're seeing straight away the deity perspective. You now understand why deities are deities. The uniqueness of the deities. No sorrow. They take happiness, give happiness, but also means they, under provocation, there is no sorrow taken, and they don't know about sorrow. When they love everyone, why would they give sorrow to anyone? No reason. That is a deity. Stay amongst us here. If you feel nothing can give you sorrow, you are ready for deity. You can say, I'm not a student anymore, I'm deity. You are shifted. the precondition is under any provocation, not the slightest sorrow. And we know the method. It is not just nice some theory about it or mythology, but the invisible witness, one who understood this world, how the whole thing exists. And then he understands there is no reason for sorrow. And natural state of everyone is a happiness. Happiness comes with friends. Once you are absolutely secure, it brings out the best in everyone. Different game altogether. So this is the deity personality. And all that follows from that. And then we are seeing gradually, the confusion comes in. You are impressed with something within the story. You want to claim it, you want to own it. And until you are drowning into that part. And then Ravana is absolutely the king. So this shift from deity to warrior and merchant to demon, Ravana is in charge, absolutely. That is demon. We got one nice example, in this country. One man, he was in prison. Now he is brother, and we invite him to give talks. But at one time he was in prison. He was with drugs and the lowest state that is possible. Prison because of obviously something done, and that is when sudden transformation came up. Some brother was visiting that prison. He understood something, brought out transformation. He started going to the library, started reading things, and now fortunately for him, when he was released from the prison, his recovery place, they call it rehabilitation place, was very close to our center on the same street. He was lucky if drama absolutely cooperated with him. So he would go there in the morning and spend whole day, whatever that is going on, take part in it. He was absolutely thirsty for knowledge. And now it is now many years since he has brought about his full transformation. And I like to hear his stories, and people like to hear. When we invite him in Cambridge, many people like to hear his story. Tramp. He calls himself, he was a tramp. And now he then went into education, and the government supported his transformation. So this is the story of everyone. We all go to our own lowest, and that is what we call Shudra and the demon. And then we bounce back. We we can't handle the heaviness, burden of Ravan. That's what makes us feel we want to change. And we may try some other methods, but then we soon realize that we have to remove Ravan. Ravan tries. Ravan and Maya tries some patch up, job. Any questions or comments? Anything you want to say? This is a good chance. Now we'll come to the subject of today. And Sarah, want to add anything?
Oh, it's just a fascinating process when you actually the awakening. And I was wondering, is it we all get these moments where there's a sort of a shift, and is it the potential angel that is getting a glimpse? The Sita's getting a glimpse of a life without Ravan, but just it's more of a reflection, but it's nice to see how it happens.
Yeah, excellent. Now, today we are going to talk on the subject, the most interesting subject for all of us, and the subject is God. Half the population on this planet don't want to hear about God. That is the way things are. But half the population are worshipping God also. And even those who do worship, they there are so many ideas. That's the fascinating thing. God, the word God is there, and everyone uses the word God, but there are as many ideas what God is as there are human beings in some form, but no one, is bothered. They don't even want to know. They are happy to they use the word I believe in God, and some may say I don't believe in God. Even those who write books on God delusion, there is confusion. That there is a book, God delusion, but which God are you talking about? And he says any notion of God is wrong. So it is confusion. To keep it so general, just a word God is disturbing you. Then something wrong with you, not with God. Now, how can we proceed? How do we understand God? The nice word that that helps me, and I think it will be appropriate for most people, is to to associate God with truth. This is where we can start. Leave aside all the other things, but let us start with some simple. God is someone who knows truth. If someone doesn't even know the truth, we can't use the word God there. That is our positioning, starting position. Now we sort of went into some detail and we saw the truth. How do we understand the truth? We saw the Paris perspective. One title used for God in some cultures is Parasnath, and Parasnath means Lord who is always Paras. So here is someone who is always Paras. In this perspective, he knows the big map, and he knows the reality, truth. He knows who the real players are, who knows the story as story, right way up instead of upside down. In this context, like Ravan is virtually opposite. Just as we saw deities and demons, they are virtually opposite. Deities take happiness, give happiness. They don't take sorrow at all. Demons take sorrow, give sorrow, no matter what. And for smallest things, they will no reason also they will take sorrow, and they are ready to give sorrow. Take offense, give offense. In the same way, Ravan, he is like an embodiment of ignorance. That is what defines Ravan. Embodiment means it is not possible for him to see the things right way up. He lives in this foreign world, story world, with absolute conviction, no argument. He says, "This is the world that we don't need to know anything more. This is my land, and this is me, and this is mine." And he is ready to get angry if someone touches his stone. That is embodiment of ignorance embodiment of bondage, that is Ravan. God is the one who is embodiment of truth. And as a result, he remains embodiment of one who remains free, free from bondage of any kind, free from attachment, 100% free. And when you are 100% free, as we saw, your life is of happiness. So he remains one who is embodiment of happiness, embodiment of peace, contentment. That deity personality is totally natural for him. For Ravan, he is prone to all kinds of sorrows, and Ravan doesn't stop there. He creates more attachments and more ego. It gets bigger all the time. And so new kinds of sorrows and new kinds of you know angers. Sad, bad, mad. That is the department of Ravan. Different kinds of sad, bad, mad department. Variety is dealing with this. So these are like virtually opposite. Ram working in one direction and Ravan in another direction. So in this model, all that we said, Ram, God is one who is forever in truth. Truth always. In the story that we saw, Ram and Sita, what is the big difference between Sita and Ram in the story? We said they are both alike. Sita cannot be different, very different to Ram. And the queen cannot be very different to the king. But still there is a difference. What is the difference? One difference between Sita and Ram. You can answer.
Just need a few moments to type. Probably a lot of differences, actually. The fact that they are alike is more amazing in Revelation. But something you said in the story, yeah, Ram is not influenced. He can't be influenced. Sita comes into ignorance and thus disobedience, attachment.
Yeah, in other words, Ram never crosses the line. And Sita is the one who crosses the line. That is the difference. For whatever temptation and Ravan's cleverness and Maya's golden years, Ram never crosses the line. And, uh, and that makes him God. And Sita crosses the line, and that makes her human. So all the souls, they are like Sitas. This applies to 100% of everyone else, includes prophets and sages and Mahatmas and everyone. We got our own moment when we cross the line. Not all cross the line on the first day, but that is the story of all the Sitas. Ravan continues with his cleverness and creativity. And so when we are in this camp, the Ravan's camp, game changes. Ram stays in truth and he experiences that highest personality. As a result, he experiences that personality where we can say there is bliss, there is contentment, there is love. It is like a highest positive personality, just as what we saw in the deities. That is Uh, he is embodiment of this state. He remains one who is in full wisdom, always under all provocations. He remains this. Wisdom, he knows your greatness. He knows you are souls. He knows you are immortal. He knows you are like him. That is a nice thing he knows. Not in a patronizing way. There is none of this. Ravan will have some other complications in the personality. Little bit patronizing, little bit ego, little bit mixed, stubbornness and manipulation. Whereas in this personality, he's so secure, 100% secure. That changes the game. Is also one word used to describe God, innocence. He is Bholanath. So there is complete innocence. So he experiences that state, and and in that secure state, when there is, it remains, he remains immensely creative, in full clarity, and but most important, he loves you. That is most important thing for us. He loves you. Okay, he loves us, and he's so wonderful. Why do we need him? He's so nice and he loves me. That's nice. So there are many people who love you, but they are in their home and you are minding your business. Do we need him? Do I need to know him?
Transform. Yes, we do. Yes.
If someone says, I don't, he may be there and he may be loving me and he may be wonderful, but I'm busy. Has he got anything to lose?
Someone's written you need a gold standard, like a highest reference point. Otherwise, we're in a human reference point. Someone who knows the game, remove the impurities to experience soul consciousness. Like you need Ram to remove Ravan.
Yes. Now, one thing that happens, our psychology, we are affected by the company. The company that you take, that affects you, in a powerful way, always. If you are a mother and if your children are going to school, you should find out who their company is or who their friends are. You should. It is the duty of the parents to know this because the big influence is coming from the company, not from the teachers. And they will become like them. They may pick up habits and language and everything based upon the company they have. So here, given that we are in our downward spiral and upside down and all that Shudra and merchant traits, and we have lost our own deity state, we have the option to come up. And if we realize we want to come up, if this is the aim of anyone, if anyone wants to bring about change in him, genuine change, there are many things we can do to patch up things, pretend things. There are many who might think, fake it until you make it, so that also is going on. But here, if you want to bring about genuine change, then we need the right method. And first of all, we need a company. And so here is the company we get. That option is there of the company. There may be some great person in your town, maybe who can teach you how to use computers, how can use some special program. And someone says, I don't want to know him. And okay, you don't want to know him. He's the loser. you know, After some time, you will find everyone else is using different skills, and you are you are left behind. So if someone says, I don't need to know him, good for him. But those who take his company, they end up going up the spiral. So for those who want to bring about transformation, for them, here is the great company. Now, there may be a company, someone may be sitting next to me. But if I'm thinking of someone else, if I'm impressed with someone else, that other person becomes my company, not one who is sitting next to me. There are some who may be in your family even, living with you. They may not be your company. Your company is one whom you can relate to, you think about, you are impressed with. That is what becomes your company. So here also, if we want to have him as my companion, it is like an option we have, is where my mind is. I can take his company not in a gross level, but in a non-physical, through my thoughts. Silent company. In this field, if you want to do the job well, you need to know or make the effort to know and to experience. You will come to experience. To know what he knows. So he says, I want to know what he knows. I want to feel what he feels. I want to see what he sees. And I want to think what he thinks. To visit these areas, as a little, if there is homework for today, it will be this homework. We understood that personality of one who is Paras, one who is forever Ravan free. That is enough. We don't need to get a vision or anything like this. We understood that personality. And then it is a little mind experiment. Anyone who is 100% in a Paras, and for him that incorporeal is so natural, what he knows, try to create this little experiment in you. What he sees, what he feels, what he thinks. In that, you come into that personality, and you know him then, properly. For that matter, anyone, even a friend, or it is his appearance is not a person. It is not his house is not a person, his job is not a person. That personality at a deep level, that is what the person is, your friend is. So here you are making effort to know this supreme personality. And what happens if you try to do this for 5 minutes? What will happen? You can answer. If you, what we spoke just now, you create time and experiment, experience it for 5 minutes. What will be the result?
Transformation. It's like grasping that perspective that much better. It's nice. Stillness, you experience peace of mind.
Most important is that whole experience is happening within you. You are trying to think of God. You are seeing what is he, what he knows and what he feels. That's what you are doing. But that experience is happening within the soul, you the soul. And that is growing. Experience is such an important thing. That is what brings about transformation. If the experience is not happening, this kind, then that kind of transformation will not happen. So if I am just superficial, that visualization kind of thing, then that will not bring about transformation. Any experience, if I have experience of eating some ice cream, you just experience ice cream, it will bring about transformation in you. It is never zero at the end of eating that ice cream. It is not zero. Because if that is giving you amazing pleasure, and it is possibly some head of Ravan getting pleasure, that head of Ravan will become bigger, guaranteed. Just 5 minute experience. There is any experience, any kind, brings about transformation in the soul. And when you are watching television and some of these programs, you are experiencing, some violence, you are experiencing it, feeling it inside you. It brings about transformation. Right way or wrong way. In the present time, lots of time it is feeding wrong side of us. But here is an opportunity for us to experience God, experience Ram, and in that is feeding the soul consciousness within you, and that experience is growing. That image that we saw, remember the selfie image? We saw that there is a soul consciousness, and we also said there are lots and lots of ego. Remember the selfie. And then big success for us is to nourish this. Spiritual student, his aim is to nourish this. That is why we are here. The whole aim of Sanjeevani is to bring about this transformation. When you are practicing paras, when you are practicing your own invisible observer and invisible traveler, all along you are making that effort. But now this is like another extra refinement to go for that highest personality, one who is already there. You are seeing that, not just experiencing with all the old habits, because our starting position is a bit mixed. The ego will also come, and it appears you are a detached observer, but the ego is mixed. But when you are seeing God, that nourishes soul consciousness in you, if it is done accurately. And that is growing, and that is purification. So we saw here, these areas. To know him, to know what he knows, what he feels. And this gives you a little bit of a contrast to the way the religions operate. Like, giving the example of King's Chapel here in Cambridge. Those who are here from Cambridge, they might know this, but it may apply to any institution, religious institution. Like that whole aim is around God, of course. That chapel is built for God. Christ stands for God. Christ is here to take us to God. So in the King's Chapel, there is a sort of that chapel is built also for music and, uh, and there is people come in robes and candles and architecture and the special organ, and they have been practicing music and there people come and they listen all this. Ask them how much time they created for God. Those who are singing and those who are doing worship, and how much time they actually try to remember God. And do they know God? Or do they want to know God even? You ask them, and do they know what He knows? It gives you a contrast. That huge tendency in Ravan's kingdom to go into the expansion and lose the essence completely. There's so much expansion, and the essence gets completely reduced. You know? And here, your purpose would be to pay attention to the essence. During that time, you don't need expansion. Reduce the expansion to the minimum. Pay attention to the that is what essence is what is required here. Anything you want to add, feel free to add.
What do you say to this question? If you have a situation in your life, should you think, what would God say I should do? Is it the right thinking?
Yes, and that's fine. It is not necessarily in connection with but it is good to ask this question. Someone who is paras, someone who is 100% paras, how will he see this situation? That is good. Grasp the perspective of how will he see it. He sees this as a story, and he sees this. He knows you beyond the story. So knowing that, how will he see this? Try to get this perspective. And just doing that, you are contributing to transformation, because that perspective is happening within you during those seconds, during those minutes. You are getting that perspective. Now comes another aspect here. Imagine there is a great mathematician in your town who will who will know him, who will recognize the great mathematician. There are many, I might say him, he's a nice person, a mathematician. I don't I know many other mathematicians. He's a great mathematician, world famous mathematician. Who will appreciate him? Who will recognize him? What will you answer?
If someone has seen him in some other literature, they might be. Someone's written a mathematician, another mathematician.
Another mathematician. If there is a great musician, he's playing music, who will appreciate him?
Musician.
That's true. The musician. I'll give you one example. One time I was in Lubeck, Germany. Those who are from Germany, they might know what I'm talking about. And our sister there, during the daytime, we were just going for a short walk in the town, and it is such a beautiful, beautiful city, Lubeck. And there are some places, some people are playing music, and just and we are going walking past. And one place, someone is playing music, and she said, "Let us stop, to listen to him." And so we stopped. For me, all the musicians, they were musicians. They're nice. But she stopped for at one place because she herself is a musician. She is a music teacher also. So she said this person is a very special, playing music on the street, But she said this person is very special, the way he's playing music, you know. Then I did not find him particularly very special. It was music, So to appreciate a great musician, you need to be a musician. To appreciate mathematician, you need to be mathematician. What am I saying here? Where am I coming to? To appreciate God, you need to be godlike in some way. You have to be in that direction. Ravan cannot understand what is God talking about. What is all this God business? Ravan cannot relate to that at all. In other words, we have to start with Paras first. We have to start with experiments with soul consciousness. We need to get glimpses of that perspective, divine perspective. You need to unmixed, just glimpses. Even for half a minute, 1 minute, unmixed. You are seeing the perspective of someone who has understood the story and who knows that he is absolutely beyond harm, 100% carefree. Glimpses of this feeling of absolute joy that comes from without any reason. There is no reason in the story, but you are experiencing that joy. That is like you are you are in that space of of godlike state. And if you have grasped that, then you will know God for what He is. You will recognize His, and all of this helps the journey. And as was said, the whole journey is very. We don't need to push ourselves in this. There is no. There are so many practices we have spoken about so far. We spoke about being the uh, guest and traveler and trustee and see the home, the different cluster of practices. See others as souls. Different steps we saw. The 4 steps of practices. This is one more. And whatever you feel comfortable, you start with that, continue with that. And in its own time, you will feel very comfortable to practice other things. And that will help you and add to the progress. It will continue to go up the spiral. They're all very effective. Some simple practice, just being the guest, but be the proper guest. Guest, invisible guest in this whole thing. Actor, but actor not mixed, but actor is so different to the role he's playing. He may be playing the role of character, the camel, or these are all characters. He understands he's so different, and play with it fully. And you going up the spiral, you nourish the soul consciousness within you. The process will start. This journey will start, and you will in its own time you will feel very comfortable with the word God also. At one time, I myself was atheist, not believing, not more agnostic. I did not know. I didn't want to talk too much about God either. And now I'm talking about God with some some conviction. In this, there is no in this tradition, there is no system of praying. Nothing wrong, but in the Raj Yoga tradition, there is no why. You know, in the he knows, if the drama need to change, and if he wants to change, if he was able to change, he knows. Why do I need to tell him change something in the drama? You know, the highest thing that is required here is I change myself. That is the only thing that is required, not changing the drama. Whether drama around me or drama outside of me. That is the story. And your whole emphasis is different. Anyone who is sensible, he will also be working at that level. Not change the film, change the script, but change the confusion of the audience. So his position is also at that level. And he's 100% for that. Ram is 100% for, for the freedom of Sita. Ram's task is to free you from Ravana. That is 100%. He loves Sita. He loves all the Sitas. So if you are sincere in this journey, you want to be free from Ravan, his part will start in your lives. It is something of this kind. Wherever person may be on this planet, in any remote island, his part will start. If someone is sincere in becoming free from Ravan, that is what he is here for. And why he is very focused, because if Ravan is removed, then everything falls in place. His whole problem is this Ravan. We said at one time, if there is an illness, someone has 20 symptoms, but all 20 symptoms, they're all connected to one tumor. Then you just need to remove that tumor. And that tumor sometimes it is very small. We got some called parathyroid glands, tiny, and there can be tumor there and creating all these symptoms. But you just need to remove that tiny tumor and he becomes free from all the symptoms. Here, Ravan is the cause of entire chaos that happens in the world. His diagnosis is very, thorough. He is so sure he can bring about this huge transformation on the planet. All that is required is removal. So that is his focus. Anyone who is ready, his part will start in your lives. But right now, we have the option to take those steps. We said also, Sita and this in the dynamics of Sita. Sita has to take a decision to be free from Ravan. Then Ram helps, we said. Sita has to take a decision. If Sita doesn't take the decision, the Ram also is happy to step back. So if Sita takes a decision, she will also take steps in that direction. Happy to hear some thoughts from you.
Let me know if this question is clear. How will someone know this is Ravan as may think this is normal? I think, yeah, connected to current circumstance. Is it clear, the question?
Yeah. Do you want to say it in your words?
Well, I'm not sure if maybe it could be clarified as to what this is, as in everyday life or a concept of Ram. That would be good to know. Yeah. Someone is also asking, if we do something wrong, how do we approach this with God?
Yeah. As was said, and the definition of God is there are many ideas of God in this world. Here, God we are seeing is like a one who is in truth. That's all. Parasnat. That is what the God is, and everyone is doing wrong things. When we have crossed the line, their life is wrong. That is for everyone, even those who think they are all kind and nice. It is they are into Ravan's camp when we have crossed the line. Life is continuously ruled by some of the heads of Ravan. So that is wrong. So not to worry too much about this small cultural right and wrong. Now we start putting the things right at a deep level. Remove Ravan and everything that is wrong is removed.
Yeah, something beautiful and simple. It's like there's no confusion and guilt in that context. Another comment here, Ravan-proof strategies would be good to discuss.
Say it again.
Ravan-proof strategies would be good to
Ravan.
explore. Ravan-proof, like stopping Ravan, to be Ravan-proof, like waterproof.
Sure. Okay. That's what we spoke in the story when we spoke about Ram and Sita story. Some of these things are discussed in more detail. Those who heard that or missed, there is a recording of that story also.
I was thinking when you were speaking, because in the philosophy it's emphasized, which you also have done, first to be soul conscious and then connect to God. So it is to take the analogy of the blue box, if this is like a computer game and our characters are the avatars, and we need to become player conscious because God is not coming to fix the computer game, but he's reaching the players that have got trapped in the computer game. So it's a big shift because previous concepts can be perhaps a notion of God within the computer game itself and projected an image into the pixels and we worship in the game. So it's just a comment really that we have to grasp also the true self, and then the worthiness is within that, isn't it? The player that is independent. So that to kickstart that to get the Paris, the site, the clean start. This is the empowering part. And I liked what you said about Ram will reach. There's that adage, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And it really resonates. And there are many stories, and many of us may have had these experiences. So, and
I wanted to
mm,
ask if we have the video of the bee and the honeypot, if we can see at some point before the break. honeybee. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah, so before that, the clarification on the earlier question was if someone does not have these ideas and this knowledge, how will someone know it is Ravan? And so I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, sure. And that is our job to make these ideas available to people in different ways, find different ways so that more and more people understand the basics. We are in the Ravan's kingdom, so you will have to people adapt to the Ravan's norm, and you have to bring about this introduction.
Thank you. Hope it helps.
And one is to introduce, but then you also need to think of a structure to sustain, to maintain the enthusiasm that exists. So the Ravan is constantly there to put out, to stop the process. So someone may understand, oh, very nice, and then finished. Next day, he is back into his old routine, Ravana routine. So here you may have to find a way to introduce, but keep the fire going in ourselves and in others.
You to sort of change the frame when we're so used to Ravan's pleasures and distractions, but we know ourselves that blissful, perfect self stage that does need reminding in a world that does not have any reminders. That's a nice challenge. So you want to go to the video?
Yes.
You said honeybee, right? Just make sure
Yes.
that there's a story that might be nice for Sita. Analogy of the honeybee.
Once upon a time, there was a honeybee who was having a great life in the garden, playing with the gentle breeze, visiting flowers, and collecting honey. One day, the same honeybee found a honey pot. For the bee, this was an extraordinary gift. The entire pot was full of this most refined, sweet honey. "This is all for me," the bee said to itself. The bee was very happy. Sometime later, the bee fell into the honey pot and started to drown in the honey. The bee was caught in the honey and had no way of escaping. Its nose and ears were full of honey, and its wings were trapped in the sticky substance. It was all very sweet, but it was suffocating the bee. The immediate need for the honeybee was to come out of the honey pot so that it could breathe and stop suffocating, so that it could use its wings again. When the honeybee was finally free, it enjoyed the sky, and it also was free to take fragrance of the honey. This story is so vivid and accurately explains the human dilemma. We are in a similar situation to the honeybee. This entire physical world is like a honeypot for us. It's an extraordinary gift, but it can also trap us. The entire department of sorrow that ever existed in human beings is only because of being trapped in this honeypot. When an individual sees himself as a guest on this planet, he remains free. As a guest, he remains involved with the world around him, but still remains free. When he loses the spirit of a guest, he begins to claim things, as if getting drawn into the honeypot. The wisest thing that anyone can do is to find the way out of the honeypot. To stop suffocating, to breathe, and to hopefully discover their wings and fly.
That would be interesting. This honeypot is in a sense neutral, but it's our choice whether we dive bomb and just get immersed. But the feeling of contrast is what's giving that Sanjeevani, isn't it? That what would it be like? Just taking fragrance. So, Prashant, anything you want to add, or we have discussion?
Yeah, this beautiful. That image is so beautiful, and that this is a beautiful world for us. The gift. We don't want to run away from it. We are visiting this world, but not to get drawn into that world. Story of human race is that we are already drowning into that, completely disconnected from the reality beyond. And our process is to start rediscovering that there is a reality beyond. We don't even know at present that we are drowning. That is the state. In that drowning state, we are having some kind of a dream excitements going on. And here you are waking up, rediscovering your truth. Sky. And so here the supreme friend, he is the one who is out. He is the only one who is out of this and who is conscious. And it is important for us to, if we get this intuitive insight, yes, this is what is happening to everyone and to me, and there is an option of discovering that sky, then we need to create this time to connect, and then different hope for the planet Earth. If enough of these bees discover the sky, you get a different planet. Face of the planet will change. Yes. So we will be happy if we go for the rooms and meet again.
The discussion question could be who is God? How can you take benefit from his presence or existence?
Yes.
Add anything, Prashant? Is that okay?
Do we need him? Do we need God?
Yeah, so open discussion, chance to explore. pop that question in the chat, and we'll see you back in just over 10 minutes. Thank you. Lovely to hear some of the stories of coming into perhaps Ram's intervention. Everyone has such beautiful experiences. Let's create just a few moments of this experience of those two stars. You so much. Welcome back. And today we're going to hear some reflections from Dharani, who's joining us from London, originally from South Africa. And anything that you'd like to share doesn't have to be what's in the rooms, but your thoughts on Sanjeevani so far or today. Up to you.
I'll just start off with the room discussion actually, because it was lovely discussion. We just talked about how we can be developing the immunity of the soul, because we don't actually we do spend so much of money with ensuring that we keep virus free with tech and virus free with all of the body, but actually how much are we doing that for our consciousness? And there was the thought about traffic control and every hour, and trying to utilize that lovely tool of traffic control to pause. But more than that's beneficial to bring about the centeredness and connection in the day. And what we felt is that it doesn't have to be rigid, because we're all busy. And but as long as we can bring in those little micro doses of connection in the day, then it seems in the evening that really does make you almost allow you to easily slip into a very deep meditation and a deep connection with the divine. So it is about being able to almost protect the self. And I think from my experience of being Baba's child from a very, very young age, and I was just sharing with the group that the knowledge is powerful, and how wonderful and how beneficial for us, and what great fortune to have the knowledge. But I would say that it's only over the last couple of years, so I've been Baba's child now since I was 8 years old, but it's only over the last couple of years going into the true experiential, going into the depth of experience of connection, I would say has been exceptionally powerful for me. And so I've done a few Sanjeevani retreats, and I sometimes will just pick a weekend and tap into creating some content around a topic. And so very recently it was around stability, and how can we maintain stability, and so I think that's where I'm finding it's the more powerful the experience, even if it is for a few minutes of connection in the day. But going into that depth of experience is the ticket. That's what's going to get us to where we need to be super fast. Okay,
Thank you. It's lovely to hear your experience and honest sharing that we can be associated with the ideas and what a fortune to have them around as one is growing up. And that's such a fortune. And then to recognize, because each one of us has a unique journey and there are different chapters sometimes within that journey. So it's helpful to hear your experience. Thank you for that. Also, sharing at short notice. This cartoon came to my mind, and I think perhaps it came up too with it's an adapted, modernized version of a classic cartoon. Dear God, how come I never hear your voice? And it seems more relevant now than ever with so much around. And you were highlighting traffic control. So it's something that pulls us out. Yes, someone put it nicely. Let's do chat God. Less chat GPT. Welcome back and handing over to Prisha. Thank
you. Hello and thank you. So first, let us come into the experience again. And now, when we are stepping behind the story, the invisible witness is aware of his family, true family. He is aware of this world of immortality. He is aware of his true friend. One who is always paras, one who is embodiment of truth. So great to have a wisest friend, wisest, holiest. Holiest because free from Ravan. And highest. Anyone who is out of this honeypot, always, he remains the highest. Just friend is happy to have this company. Invisible witness, he knows he is very lucky. Lucky for many reasons. Starting with the self, to be immortal and to be naturally happy and content. Truth itself is extraordinary for him. So he knows he is very lucky. His home is the supreme reality. And then immortal and eternal. You got a family. This is a divine family. And you got a supreme friend who is playing the part of friend, companion, and also the father. Also sees that there is a great story, and story is also another great gift for him. Story is, every moment is a gift. All that's required, he sees it the right way, that's all. Sees the story as a story. Honeypot is a honeypot, not to drown into the honeypot. That's the caution. He knows that truth is immensely beautiful for everyone. As we continue on our journey, we remind ourselves of this extraordinary truth and remind ourselves of the true self and the true friend. Thank you. Feel free if you want to say anything or ask in the last yeah, any subject. You feel free.
There's a question, something came up. How are one's sins removed by God?
When we are, that is just a language in a sin. But Ravan is the sum total of all our sins. Ravan within us, different heads of Ravan. That is, the sin is there in that form. When you are removing Ravan, that is just another way of saying sin is removed. If we see that image like this, where there are many, many eye, when you bring about change in yourselves, this transformation is sin is removed. Anything else is around to add?
Not at this stage. Thank you.
Yeah, let us quickly summarize some of the things we have spoken. We first started with the discussion about our life, and we said in our journey, we need to know little details, bigger map. And when we see the bigger map, we realize that we are actually the travelers in this world. We are just passing through. And if I'm not seeing the bigger map, then honeypot is the only thing. You can't see the sky. And how long can you stay without drowning into the honeypot? And that is what happens to human race and to ourselves. We find ourselves in this spiral. And then comes a time we don't know that we don't know. So that is what Ravan is. Don't know that we don't know. So Ravan's department starts full scale. What a situation we find ourselves. At one time we are in this supreme reality, and now we don't even know that we have this world of immortality. We got a home, we got this great family, that divine personality inside us. We lead a life that is Ravan's life. A little bit of sorrow, a little bit. Our relationships, they're fully mixed with some kind of a selfishness, our own insecurities, influencing everything. We don't even know, we think we are loving, but we don't even know who the real people are. We are busy loving Cinderellas and completely ignoring the real ones. Even with information, knowledge, our old tendencies are so stubborn. We give a lip service to these ideas, and attachments still continue in the Cinderella world. It is because that is what Ravan's world is. Ravan lives in that story stubbornly, and that's what you will notice. So that is Ravan relationships and Ravan love and Ravan's happiness. It all feeds Ravan. We said every experience changes us, but most of these experiences are Ravan experiences. That is what is happening. We have the option to change this game, and that is where this all these different subjects that we discussed, and to understand them, then the revision is necessary, I feel, and to understand the subtlety behind all this. It can be taken superficially, but when you understand at a subtle level, you will realize seconds and minutes I need to pay. Most of the time it will happen in time, but let me create 1 minute of quality, half a minute of quality, get it 100% right. That is the idea. 5 minutes of quality, creating just this homework to ourselves, and follow some of the steps that are mentioned. And we then understand this huge shift that is possible in our inner life and can be in a very short time. And that we go down the spiral, it takes many, many bursts, but we go up this. We have to do this in a very short time. Also understand great value of our time, this life, and a great value to our mind, and that's what will happen. More we appreciate what is possible with our mind, you will understand the value of your time, your mind, and this life. So it will be nice to hear some thoughts from you, and all these subjects. We will have these advanced sessions. One is the follow-up sessions next weekend, but then there are some advanced sessions. We take up different subjects. And you are welcome to join the advanced retreat happening tomorrow. Advanced, and that is okay if you want to join. But this happens every once in few weeks. Advanced Sanjeevani.
That's so true, isn't it? So sustenance, and we all help each other. And it feels like some of us have repeated this course, and I know each time, Sanjay said the same thing. Each time it feels new, because it's sufficiently deep enough with the knowledge or the ideas of Raj Yoga. They are heard differently each time. The consciousness is grasping more. And I love this factor. The new factor is knowledge for Sita to win the game with Ravan. Not to underestimate the self. Sita should not underestimate the self. Yes, it's going to be a new link. We'll send the link to the follow-up by email. So just on a practical note here. So, and also many things which we can do to remind ourselves and each other. We also have WhatsApp group with weekly themes from the Sanjeevani and from Raj Yoga knowledge. So yeah, there aren't any comments right now, but I'm sure there are many wonderful realizations now coming up. We're happy to hear from you, either now or do get in touch. So. Yes, you will also receive an invitation to the monthly advanced Sanjeevani sessions. Thank you.
I wondered if it is a good time to hear from Corinne. It is just your experience of this week, what has been just in essence. Corinne is joining us from Switzerland, closer to Geneva.
Good evening to all. I don't really like to give comments directly, but I just would like to thank you because we learned a lot, and what I liked is that everything is changing second after second. I like this point that each time we know something new, it makes a whole change in us. So this one I like very much. And yes, it's good to revise all the bases and to have new perspectives to understand maybe the subtleties of what we think we know already, but maybe we know that we don't know. Okay, thank you both for having this retreat possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne. Lovely to see you, and happy you could join. Nice to be connected. We popped in the link to the retreat happening tomorrow also, which is an example of what happens each month. It just happens to be tomorrow. Kumbhakana Awakening the Sleeping Giant. So anything that Prashant would like to add, and then we might finish with a song.
Yeah, we'll hear the song. We will meet as this group a week later.
Yes, it's right to the follow-up 3rd and 4th of July. Thank you all so much, and we'll create some time for experiencing some of the ideas in the form of song. Thank you.
We're not just bodies playing our part in this earthly drama, blind to depart. But deep inside there's a truth we can see. It is not our world for eternity. The silence calls, it's the world we belong, a realm of peace where we are strong. Awaken now to the world of the soul. This earth is a shadow, the true world's whole. Beyond the noise, beyond the race, there's a silent world, a sacred space. We are eternal, pure and free. The riches of the soul world we truly see. This world of illusion, so loud and so bright, is not our home, it's not our light. We are the essence beyond all form. Knowing the soul world, we are transformed. The Father of peace, He calls us near. In His silence, there's nothing to fear. Awaken now to the world of the soul. This earth is a shadow, the true world's whole. Beyond the noise, beyond the race, there's a silent world, a sacred space. We are eternal, pure and free. The riches of the soul world we truly see. Father Supreme, the ocean of light. In the soul world we find our sight, pure and peaceful beyond the sky. In His embrace we rise, we fly. No harm can touch, no pain can stay. To the soul world we find our way. Awaken now to the world of the soul. This earth is a shadow, the true world's whole. Beyond the noise, beyond the race, there's a silent world, a sacred space. We are eternal, pure and free. The riches of the soul world we truly see.
Thank you. See you soon. Keep above the line. Om Shanti.